Hello members and welcome to another weekly market update. Please as always check the other video when I talk about the overall market. Here's where we focus in on what's going on over my shoulder. 20th of April when market last closed. I'm starting off with a chart of gold. As you know, I've been following this for a while, and you can see this on the weekly chart of gold here, this kind of upwards channel. Sorry, that's the daily chart. See this sort of channel there. It's almost getting itself into there, sort of diagonally climbing upwards, and it's still holding position nicely above the 40 week, and all the time it stays above the 40 week. The 40 week is going to turn up, and that's what you're seeing here. And the longer it holds position above there, the more bullish it is for a setup for gold. You can see this line of resistance there. It needs to be overcome around 2128. That's going to be an important level, and gold has not succeeded in breaching that yet. On the daily chart here, you can see it a bit as well, around 128. There it is, and it's sort of, when you zoom in on the daily chart, you can actually see the sort of horizontal channel, support and resistance bouncing around between 124 and 128. Meanwhile, let's look at oil. Oil is still doing exceptionally well for me. That's where I got in after that. As you know, on the weekly chart, very long-term resistance there, and it broke out of it, which means it's a very meaningful break, such a long-term resistance. Pulls back, there was my entry point, classic, and then off she goes, and holding above there. There was another line of resistance it crossed there. You can see that really around 13.5. And once it got over that, did another little pullback and got higher. So really could be stepping up nicely there. And a pullback to around 13 is reaching 26 is just fine, and maybe even allows another entry point. Let's look at some individual stocks. RDNT. Yep, good. There was the entry point around there. Up she goes, arcing over a little bit. I don't really want it to come down much more than that. So there's that's that step there around 1340. If it gets lower than that, I'm going to be looking at, I don't know, 13.5. Below that, I'm starting to maybe take some money off the table, and certainly below 12.5. What else we've got here? Let's look at Tile. There was the entry point long ago, back in September, but it keeps on going higher, so why sell it? Still away in this uptrend, holding above the 40 week nicely. IMMU. There was the entry point in this one, and the same deal, hanging in there very nicely. Still in an uptrend. Looking for a double on that one. ENSS. There was the entry point, up she goes. Similar deal to the other ones. You know, we're just looking at stocks where, you know, they're in an uptrend, obviously, and we're looking for a low risk entry point as it kind of slows down a bit and looks to be bumping into its uptrending 40 week, and that's going great. 30%, 40%, 50% gain just on buying the stock alone. Nothing fancy like options or spread betting. What else here? We've got DQ. There was the entry point in this one, and that one's doing just fine. It's actually up $10 already, just with that little bump there. We also looked at ONCS. So that one is still right on the line and still providing a nice entry point. It's a little penny stock. Let's look on the weekly chart, see if we can see anything going on with that. Yeah, there it is, right on it now. More than ever, better entry point because it's right on the 40 week. If it goes below the 40 week, then I would be out of it. So that's as tight as an entry point gets now on that penny stock. So that's really good opportunity for entry there. And the other one we had was FCL, similar deal. Looking for these penny stock kind of bounce backs here. There is the entry point as it just kissed the 40 week, and it just keeps hugging it, and that 40 week line is just beautiful right now, crossing the 70 week, everything turning up. Look at the daily chart here. And there it was. We're going by the weekly chart, don't forget. And if it just holds up there, that's beautiful. So that one's looking great. And I had another one here. And those are the ones actually, yes, I'm going to be looking at some others in the cryptocurrency database. So let's stay on this one. The pound. I see we've got currencies, we've got commodities, we've got stocks. All looking good. There was the entry point way down there, I think, and then still in the uptrend. All the time it stays in the uptrend, then looking good. And this has been our clue, if for me anyway, that says, look, this stock market isn't going to go into a bear market just yet, because money is not going into dollars in cash. That would have sent the pound lower and ruined this uptrend, but that didn't happen. It's just market was due for a correction. Market does what it does. You don't have to have a reason all the time, unlike the news networks who think you've got to have a reason. And it's the news networks, by the way, who are behind this whole narrative about, this whole thing's a Trump-induced trade war. There's no trade war, as we've already discussed. It's just getting back at China for what they've been doing to America for a long time. So be careful about listening to socialist, politically motivated news networks, because as traders we're just looking at the chart for the truth, and the chart's telling us something else. So be careful about the nonsensical narratives that socialist networks try to sell you on. So that's all for this update, and I will speak to you in cryptocurrencies.